do a plant-based medicine journey, we go there, we get clarity, we see things from a different perspective. And a lot of people think, oh, I'm enlightened, or oh, I know it, or oh, I'm right. But it's always bringing it back here in this human vehicle, in this vessel, on this dimension, to integrate the clarity that we had there and bring it here. And that comes through a lot of these mergers or lawsuits or discrepancies or all the things that we feel are like, not so nice to be experiencing. But it brings the opportunity to really practice the embodiment of seeing the clarity and keeping the clarity of what is the vision, and that's part of why we did the show, right?
It's really important what you just said. Even if the CEO has done the medicine and seen the light, it's very difficult to bring the rest of the team into that mindset if they haven't.
Yeah.
And the investors. That is, what if you can see the future, but the investors can't figure it out in the 3D? Then you have the same sort of pull and tug. So
welcome to another edition of Psychedelic Sages, where we provide intuitive insights, truth bust, and service watchdogs and guides for topics around spiritual medicines, more commonly referred to as psychedelics. Welcome everyone to another edition of Psychedelic Sages. I'm Beth Bell.
I'm Stephanie Salt.
And we thought today we would take another look at the Numinus Novamind merger. A while back, I don't remember the date exactly, we did a reading on them to see what was happening, got the devil card of all things. And now we thought today, let's take a look at this. I think it's at least a month out, isn't it, Steph, since we last did them?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see if they've made any progress. They had some things that were, really going in favor for them, but it was just, they had some choices that they had to make. And that was going to determine sort of which road they went down. So let's pull a card and see what's going on right now in their energy.
Yeah, the devil card was a bit disturbing, but not necessarily something that can't be turned around. So
Right.
it'd be interesting to see what they've actually done, if they've shifted, if they're still having these internal conflicts within the company. And let's just see what that's looking like right now. Beth?
Okay, yes. Okay. Go to your right. Right there. No. To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, right there, right there. Yep, right there. Oh God.
Look at the judgment card.
Okay.
Very interesting. So there has been a shift. I think what's happening is they're being called to everybody sit at the table and figure out what the heck is going on with this company. And I think this is a good sign. So that tells me there has been movement. There has been shifts. There has been, I think, a fair amount of enlightenment from the management team. The
Okay.
CEO, Peyton, I'm sure is kind of heading this, but the universe is saying, hey guys, you need to get this stuff straight. You need
Yeah.
to re-look at old paradigms and sit down and figure out how you can make this work. And I think your suggestion that you made, I don't know if it was with this company, Beth, about they need to take the plant medicine
Yeah.
themselves
Yeah. No,
and
that
get
was about
some
the
enlightenment from spirit
exactly
to get
right.
them out of the grave, to get them out of this death negative
Yeah.
cycle. So
Yeah.
I think you were really, really clairvoyant yourself when you made that suggestion.
Yeah. Well, that was more about that lawsuit, but I think
Yes.
that's so true for any of them. And, it's amazing when you get into some of these companies, how many individuals have not done the plant-based medicines, which is very normal, honestly, in the pharmaceutical industry. I mean, I didn't always take the medications that I was, working on, right? So you just don't do that. So it's a little bit different. And that's why I think psychedelics has been such a fun sector to invest in, because a lot of the founders got inspired by doing their own plant-based medicine and their own awakening. And then they started companies and looked at these molecules, but they had to get team members, to do their specialties. And sometimes those team members with those specialties haven't had this experience on medicine. And so it creates a real intense mixing of minds in a good way, because I think we need different perspectives, but then also in a challenging way, And I think that might be part of what's going on here, merging, these two different companies and two different leaders, two different leadership styles, and then putting it all together. And yeah, and it's a magic mix, and we just don't know how it's all going to turn out.
Absolutely. I think they need a corporate vision quest. Both sides sitting down, both CEOs
Yeah,
sitting down
exactly.
under medicine and figuring out what is the best way forward for the highest good of the company and the client, the patients.
Yeah,
Being called to do something different, being called to let go of the old. And I think if they did do the plant medicine in a corporate vision quest, and this is going to be state of the arts at some point. This is going to happen on
yeah,
where the whole team goes and does the plant medicine and downloads what is the best thing
yeah,
for our company, for our employees,
yeah.
for the families of the employees, for our corporate well-being. And this is going to be state of the arts in the very near future, I do believe.
Yeah. You bring up something that I was just reflecting on this morning, and we do a plant-based medicine journey. We go there, we get clarity, we see things from a different perspective. And a lot of people think, oh, I'm enlightened, or oh, I know it, or oh, I'm right. But it's always bringing it back here in this human vehicle, in this vessel, on this dimension to integrate the clarity that we had there and bring it here. And that comes through a lot of these mergers or lawsuits or discrepancies or all the things that we feel are like, not so nice to be experiencing. But it brings the opportunity to really practice the embodiment of seeing the clarity and keeping the clarity of what is the vision, and that's part of why we did the show, right? We wanted to support companies who had a vision to help humanity heal, and psychedelics have that opportunity. But there's a lot of different players that are getting in the mix. Let's do another card. Speaking of which, players getting in the mix, let's do another card on mergers. I mean, like, we're really clear that this is happening, so it's not asking that question. Numinus, let's ask to Numinus, because it's not Novamind anymore, if they're someone that's going to be acquired in the near future, or if
Okay.
they're still a standalone, or maybe they're acquiring someone else.
Okay, but before
Yeah,
we retire this card, it's really important what you just said. Even if the CEO has done the medicine and seen the light, it's very difficult to bring the rest of the team into that mindset if they haven't.
yeah,
And the investors. That is, what if you can see the future, but the investors can't figure it out in the 3D? Then you have the same sort of pull and tug. So yeah, very difficult to bring these enlightened, illuminated, ascension ideas into the 3D and make them work.
yeah. No, great
So
points.
let's see. Let's see. I'm shuffling. What if Numinous is an acquisition target?
Okay,
Let's.
it's right where your hand is, right about there. Go to the right with your left hand. Right there, right. Back up. No, to the left. Right to your right. Right there. Right there. Right there. Yep.
Mm, we get the Lover's card.
Hmm.
This is the Lover's card. This is an interesting card because it rules communication.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing too, it also rules number 6, which is the year of 2022. And this is the card for 2022. So I would say, yes, there is another company that is absolutely in love with Numinous
Okay.
for as an acquisition target, or Numinous has another company that they want to acquire because they've just been through an acquisition.
Yeah.
So interesting, but it could be a smaller company that they're acquiring, maybe Numinous. But I'm not so sure that Numinous is actually an acquisition target at this particular point. It could be by big pharma though. But I think there is choices. This is the card of choices, having two different paths and trying to figure out which way to go. And that could mean they have two different companies that they're looking at, or they can choose to be acquired or not be acquired.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's actually more than two choices, but interesting that
Yeah.
there is, if they do this, there is a sense of harmony and balance that will be the result. So
Hmm.
this is a very interesting, but I think whatever whatever is going to happen, we'll hear about it in 2022.
Okay, so still before the end of the year. Let's take a quick look at their stock. I haven't looked at their stock price in a little bit. Let me toggle over to that.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, so let's take a look here. It looks like they've had a bit of an upswing, not a whole lot. I mean, they're still only at 27 cents, but they're still significantly lower than where they were. Yeah, so it looks like their stock is still significantly down. And perhaps an opportunity to buy in. They are very closely linked in with MAPS, doing some clinical studies at their clinics, and we know MAPS is the cutting edge of what's happening, especially with MDMA and FDA and their phase 3. So yeah, lots of exciting things on the horizon.
Yeah, I just wanted to show the energetic shift, how
Sure.
this is like night and day. This is the card that we pulled about the merger when it first started. And this is the card we just pulled. Look at the energy here. It's a
Yep.
completely different shift. This is what
Yep.
I love about the cards because it shows a snapshot of where the company or individuals are at any given time. And this is what I love. I mean, look at the shift. Wouldn't
Yeah.
you want that? So
Yeah.
yes, the merger situation is alive and well in the planning of
Yeah,
this.
it looks like they did a nice recovery. I mean, according to the cards, right? That
Yes,
they've really had a good turnaround, that there's some open communication, and yeah, things are moving in the right direction.
yes,
So
yeah. From the ego, from the Capricorn energy to
yeah,
Gemini, moving completely, being bound by old paradigms to being open to the beauty of the medicine, the enlightenment that
yeah,
comes from spirit, that comes from the divine, that comes from other sources, galactic sources sometimes. And
yeah,
then you look at even this. This is the card that we pulled about their energy now. This we asked about. We pulled this card, the devil, and then this was a second card. Like this is they're listening. Look
yeah,
at that.
yeah,
uh Enlightenment. Something's going on that's going to cause them to move and
yeah,
change and adapt and be more flexible.
yeah, for
Very
sure.
interesting when you look at it, everything in perspective like this.
Yeah, yep.
Comes very.
All right. Well, we'll keep tuning in and see what's happening with that. But I think that's all for now on this episode, unless there's any final comments.
No, I'm just glad to see that they have shifted.
Yeah,
I think they're a really good company. I'm just thrilled that they have made changes and listened
yeah,
to source.
yeah. Me too. All right. Well, on that note, we'll end this episode. Stay tuned for much more coming in the future. Thanks for tuning in to this episode. You can get more in-depth information on our Patreon site, Psychedelic Sages.